So the real estate market is shifting. Are you ready? The statistics. When we pull statistics, are you living in reality or in fantasy land? What do you think are the signs of the shift? Now, I'm going to be asking for some participation. If you can't jump on and talk, please make sure that you type in, and let's talk about the signs of the shift and what those mean. First, it's inventory. Rod, what have you noticed?
So this is a great question, and I just want to take a second and talk about this, right? How many people have been in real estate for a few years at a couple of different companies? I know Annette has, and she's not here today. Donna, I think Donna has seen it. How often do you hear, yes, how often do you hear brokers, do you hear trainers talk about a shift?
Seems like a lot.
It seems like a lot. Why is everybody so concerned?
I'm going to answer this one for you. I think everybody's concerned because it's the unknown.
Okay, for sure. Yeah, anybody else have any thoughts? Let's see. Let me pull up the chat. Okay.
There's nobody chatting.
Nobody chatting yet. Okay.
I was
there you go, Tyler.
About my friend who I got into a home and we had to really talk him into it. I was concerned, as like, oh, well, is the shift going to happen soon enough that he's going to lose that equity that he's gained? So I've been concerned about that personally.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I want you guys to recognize. A shift is scary in the real estate market because the number of transactions that are available for all the agents dramatically decreases. Does anybody have any idea how many homes that we've sold in the last 365 days, give or take?
Where at? Like you're talking Salt Lake County or Utah? Or
Yep,
what?
Salt Lake County. Let's just talk Salt Lake County since that's kind of where we're at. It's
10,
around 7. How many?
10,000.
10,000. It's around 17,000. Around 17,000 transactions. So homes were sold in Salt Lake County in the last year. What's
one per
interesting
agent.
Yeah, we've got 17,000 real estate agents in the Salt Lake board. Another thing that's interesting. So 17,000 homes sold means 34,000 transactions. Okay. And in 2015, and I pulled up some stats and looked at these, in 2015, the number of homes sold was less than 12,000. That's a 10,000 transaction difference between a lower market, a slower market, and a hot market. If there are 10,000 transactions taken out of the market as we move forward, how many people in the real estate industry are going to lose their jobs or their businesses?
Yep.
That's why brokers, trainers, people that have been through it, that's why they're concerned. And that's why they're trying to prepare for the shift. Yeah, it gets better to a degree for buyers because there's more inventory.
Okay, wait, that's the next one.
Oh, okay.
Buyer competition. No, you're good.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. So, yeah, there are more homes for the buyers that are available, but I want you to think about this in the shift. If we go from 17,000 buyers down to 12,000 buyers, the competition gets better for the buyers because there's fewer buyers in the marketplace. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So as a real estate agent, typically what happens is in a hot market, more agents do fewer transactions. So the transactions are spread out among a lot of different agents. But in a shifted market, in a market like what we're moving into, fewer agents do more transactions. It becomes vertical instead of horizontal. But the problem is if you're on the outskirts, guys, your business disappears and you end up working for somebody else, doing something else, and losing your livelihood in the real estate industry. I'm not wanting to just panic you guys, but I want you to be prepared because what we're moving into is going to be, it's going to take commitment. It's going to take effort. It's going to take work. Let me just share my screen really quick, babe. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Let me just share my screen really quick, and I'll show you a really quick difference, just
Hey,
to kind of share with you.
You got emails underneath. You got
I'll bring those up. They're important.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
leave it alone. I'll do it. Okay. May 22nd of this year, so 3 weeks ago, right? Total homes on the market, 3,049. And yesterday, 3,291. That's a 200 and almost a 250 home difference over a couple of weeks. The number of active homes is pretty close, even though there's fewer active homes coming on the market. Why is that important? Because people are concerned about putting their houses on the market. They're scared, they're nervous. And when people get scared, they stop taking action. And now you're going to start to see that become a problem again. The total homes sold in the prior 30 days, we went from 1,296 down to 1,246. So while there's more homes on the market, there's actually fewer homes closing. Okay. The days on the market was the same so far. That's fine. But the number of failed transactions or canceled transactions over the prior year went from just under 2,000 to 2,062. So over a couple of weeks period, we've had 70 additional homes fail to sell, get pulled off the market, cancel, or withdrawn. And then the total number of homes sold, we went in the prior 365 days on May 22nd from 17,200 down to 16,900. So we're dropping transactions, 200 transactions year over year. Guys, this is just going to accelerate. Yeah. Okay. I'll stop sharing. Let's bring us back to where we were at before.
Okay. So the other, right. I've got a few more signs of the shift. Price reductions. Rod, have you noticed price reductions?
Yeah. Do you guys know what those look like when you pull up the list of homes on the MLS? It's the green down arrow.
Yeah, they make it really easy for us now is to see those.
Yeah. Now, let me just ask you guys, when you do a search for a buyer, how far do you go back?
What do you mean?
So
do you go back only 7 days?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. How many days back to look for new inventory with a buyer? I go 7 days. Why is that important?
Because you want to get 7 days.
What happens if you're listing a home and it hits day 8?
Yep.
The number of available buyers for your listing drops dramatically. I want you to think about that, right? As the market shifts and the days on market, we just looked, days on market was 12 days. What happens if it takes you 12 days before you get a contract on your listing? If most agents are only going back 7 days, you've lost a huge portion of the market. So we have to be able to, go ahead. We'll hit that, I think. But anyways, okay.
Builder inventory.
Concerns? Yeah, let me share that with you really quick. That's what I wanted to share the email for, babe. Let me share that screen again.
Okay, you're good.
Okay, I got this email this week. Okay, again, just an indicator. Did I disappear? No.
No, okay. I'm laughing because like last week it was 1%.
Yeah, guys. By the way, I'm also getting several emails about inventory, move-in ready. Are you guys seeing the same things from builders? Yeah, I'll just share this with you. I went out, I had a gentleman reach out to me. It was a phone presentation. He was looking for the value of his home because he needs to do a refinance and pull some cash out to get some dental work done. He knows Richard Paul Evans, the Christmas box author. He's part of a tight group of people. He used to be in a band. It was kind of fun. Anyways, I go out, meet this guy, and we did an inventory check. It was in Lehigh, and his home's a beautiful home, 3-car garage. And I got to go out, and his home is valued somewhere between $700,000 and $750,000. Any guesses about the inventory level in Lehigh in the $700,000 to $750,000 range last week? Inventory level means months worth of inventory. All right, I can stop sharing. We can come back. How many months worth of inventory between 700 and 750,000? Any guesses? Does anybody know when property values start to decline? At what month? So if you have less than 4 months worth of inventory, we have a shortage of supply, an abundance of demand, and property values are going up. Between 4 and 6 months, we get a stable market. And what I mean by a stable market is typically real estate will appreciate with inflation, but it won't go up or down beyond that. Okay. Now, which, by the way, thank you, Bree, for letting us know, which, by the way, is a great thing to share with people about inflation. Real estate typically rises with inflation. So, you know, people that are trying to wait for the market to crash, typically it's going to cost you more money just because of inflation. But anyways, if you get more than 6 months worth of inventory, property values decline. So any guesses? I mean, obviously, because I'm talking about it, we're probably over 6 months in this price range. So how many months do you think? It was 11, guys. 11 months worth of inventory in Lehigh between 700 and 750,000. And why am I talking about it right now? Because most of the inventory is builder inventory.
Yep.
And
Builder
it's not
inventory.
moving.
Okay, I'm going to move through the rest of the signs of the shift so that I can get to the actual material.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, babe.
So, I know I'm like, yeah, we need to talk about this, but let's be fast. So let's be fast. I have to get all of my things back in front of me when I unshare my screen. Okay. So builder inventory, we've got mortgage industry layoffs. If you've noticed in the news that mortgage companies are laying off a lot of their background people, their processors and such. We also see interest rates are changing. They're going up. You've known that for several months. This is a sign of the shift. Days on market, we just talked about that. Days on market. If you watch the days on market, we should be expecting days on market to get to 30, 60, 90, 6 months. Like and the conversations with your sellers will absolutely change at that point. Also, you'll notice expireds for sale by owners. So a lot of things that have not existed in the last 3-4 years, expireds and for sale by owners can sell like that. Now you're going to start seeing signs sit out there in their yards. You're going to see them on the market trying to sell on their own more often and for longer periods of time. So the second half of the year, we're going to focus, which is follow one course until successful, is to move you through the concentration phase into momentum. So that's really what we want to work on. If you need to plan, we're giving you a very short period of time to get your plan set for the second half of the year. If you already know it, that's awesome. So a reminder in the phases of mastery. Jocelyn's so awesome. Did you see how cute this little graphic is? So since habits take time to create, the stage is going to take you close to 90 days before you can move into momentum. So over the next 6 months, you should be able to get yourself into momentum. But don't forget, there are some breakdowns. So we're planning the 6 months just to make sure that you've got enough time to break down, start over. This is when you're going to start taking action, work your plan, get the ball rolling, get consistent with your schedule. You're going to be doing a lot of work and seeing little or no results. You're going to feel like a hamster on that hamster wheel. So get prepared. Hang on. First thing, so I've broken this down to some very specific steps and things that we want to talk about. The first thing is you're going to make a commitment to prospect a minimum of 3 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. I know that sounds a lot, but don't forget there's lots of different ways that you're prospecting in today's world. It's not just picking up the phone like it was with me. All I did was prospect 3 hours a day, every day at the beginning of my career. You're going to focus on your high quality leads. You're going to use your speed to lead techniques for the new leads. Prospect every single day until you get an appointment. So if you get an appointment in the first couple of calls, that is a beautiful day, right, Rod?
Yeah, I used to, if I got mine was two, if I got my 2 appointments for the day, then I had a little extra time, I would hit the bookstore, I would go golfing, or I would do what I wanted to do because I had
Go to
achieved
lunch
what I
with
wanted to
Melody.
achieve. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So when you set that goal that your total focus on prospecting is not just to reach out to them, but to set that appointment, making sure that you set an appointment every single day. And guess what? Coffee appointments with your sphere of influence are not this type of appointment. This is a listing or a buyer appointment. Showing appointments don't count as this appointment. Okay. It's only listing appointments and only buyer consultations where they're signing a buyer agency or signing a listing agreement. Want you to get that type of appointment in your head as the goal for every day when you're prospecting. So when you hit 3 hours or your appointment, you've had success. Okay.
Yeah, guys, I want to just say one thing here. You can get super discouraged super fast in this kind of an environment. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is when you set a goal, make sure that the goal that you set is 100% in your control. An appointment is not in your control, but the amount of time that you're prospecting is, and the number of conversations that you have is 100% within your control.
Yeah.
So give yourselves that shot of dopamine. Yes, celebrate the wins, right? If you get the appointment, I mean, the Dodgers right now, I don't know if you've seen this, but the Dodgers right now, after a win, bring a disco ball into the clubhouse. They put Mookie Betts on turntables and they dance and they play loud music because wins in June matter. So when you get that appointment, celebrate. Wins with appointments in June matter, but make sure that your commitment that you're making is something you have control over. Okay. Sorry about it.
Yep. No, that's awesome. So the goal is to set an appointment every day. And I say it that way because remember, I want you to focus on the appointment. I want you to focus on the appointment, not just having conversations. Because I think sometimes we get so hooked up on, oh, I got to make 30 conversations or whatever your number is. And so you just zip, 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 zip as fast as you can. And that's not what the intent is. The intent is to find that person that you can serve, that family that you can help make their move. It is connecting and making that appointment happen. Do it 5 times a week. Call every single lead 3 or 4 times a day until you reach them and show them. I mean, realistically, you're showing them how hard you work. So if you're prospecting a buyer or lead follow-upping a buyer with a buyer, you really are showing them your level of commitment to their success. So never think that you're following up too much, because what you're doing is you're proving your value as a real estate agent. Second thing is lead follow-up. Obviously, it's speed to lead. You're going to take action on leads within 5 minutes. That's really what your focus is. You're going to call them 2 to 3 times per day until you reach them. These are those brand new leads. Whether it's a lead that's been handed over to you by us, whether it's coming through the follow-up boss through the speed to lead thing, I mean, wherever it's coming from, you want to make sure that if you don't get them in that first 5 minutes, that you keep trying them several times throughout the day. Focus on getting your inbox and follow-up box inbox 0 every day. So inbox, tasks, calendars, deals, those are the things on that top line. Just kind of go through and make sure that that's part of your actions every single day. And then go through your call list. Your call list is your tickler file. We didn't really have awesome computers setups in 1993. We just didn't, right? So I had boxes and I had files and I had papers, and I created a 1 through 31 in the January through December, and I had all of these really kind of complicated things. It wasn't really complicated. I just had a piece of paper and I stuck it in on the day that I was supposed to follow up on, and every day I went through and I pulled out a stack of papers and I sat there and called through them all, made notes. I mean, today with Follow Up Boss, you're so very lucky because Follow Up Boss is going to help you based on the stage determine the cadence of when it shows up on that smart list. And remember, these are, you start from left to right and then you go down the arrows. And what that means is this is going to give you plenty of people to reach out to during that time to set appointments with. Obviously, you're going to start with new leads, then hot, active after the listing appointment, nurture, watch your customer service calls, and then your PCSOA. Okay. I get excited about that. Can you tell? Then pre-qualify 100%, every lead, every time, no exceptions. And what that means is you want to find out what their motivation and their time frame for moving is before you can move forward in helping them. Those are the two most important items. There is a list, there's lots of different questions that you can ask to determine these. But if you do not know what their motivation is or their time frame, you're kind of stuck. You're at a bottleneck at that point. A lead that does not have a strong enough why will not make a move in a shifting market. Just ask Annette. She's got a listing right now that does not have a strong enough why. It's a fantasy land. If everything lines up, we'll make the move. But if everything lines up or doesn't line up, then we're not going to make the move. Well, they're not going to make the move because they're not motivated enough to adjust their price into the right price range to incentivize a buyer to come through and make an offer. So if they don't have a strong enough why in this market, you put them on the back burner until their motivation becomes strong enough to make the move. And how do you know when their motivation shifts? It's because you're using the tickler file and you're contacting them as often as you've decided with your cadence of follow-up stage. That is how you'll remember or be reminded to keep reaching out to them and get them at the right time. Do not work with leads who live in a fantasy world. We do not visit Disneyland on a daily basis. Leads have to have the ability to make a decision within the next 90 days. If they do not, it's a condition. It's not an objection. Okay. Maybe it's credit. Maybe it's that they have to go through probate on a listing. Maybe it, whatever the conditions are. A condition is something that is absolutely stopping them from being able to make a decision and sign a contract in that 90 days. Now, if they tell you, I'm not going to make it a move until school ends next year, you're not going to be able to get them to make a move right now. So let's concentrate on the people who are, and that is the way that you do that is by narrowing your list. Now, I always coach people to make sure that your follow-up list is not huge. You don't need 1,000 people on your follow-up list. You need just a hot list on your, I'm going to call these people every single day until they list or die. Those people, you get maybe 5. You don't really have bandwidth for many more than 5. That means everybody else needs to be sorted into those other call lists. Call the cadence. Okay, so this is really simple. If they're over 90 days, tag it with DB intro plan. And what that will do is that'll automatically move them through the intro plan into the sphere stage, and the sphere stage is a quarterly phone call. Okay, so just simply tag them if they're over 90 days. Make sure you're making notes so you can remember what the heck, what are you missing on their motivation, or what are you missing on their time frame. Okay, the fourth thing is additional times. You need to vary the time. So add a minimum of 2 strong evening prospecting sessions, and a minimum of 2 Saturdays or even Sunday evenings every single month. This is going to ensure that you're able to reach leads that have a, a specific work schedule or that are not available during your normal call times. So just make sure that you're varying your call sessions. And remember, I always say call, but it's not just call. It's, it's sending emails, it's texting, it's DMing, it's the whole thing. Make sure that you make notes and follow up, boss, though, because that is how we are going to be able to track what you're doing numbers wise. Number 5, role play. Practice and role play your scripts, dialogues, and presentations every single day. You've got to focus on gaining confidence in this changing market. And the best way that you can do that is by knowing what to say and how to say it, so that when you get in front of somebody or have somebody on the phone, that you have that confidence shines through and you can concentrate on the client rather than on your words. Okay. 30 minutes, we recommend 30 minutes every morning and 30 minutes every night, whether it is reading them, writing them, saying them, chanting them, role playing with a live partner, however it is that you can internalize those scripts. I want you to start working on them. There's a lot of scripts to work on. So, do you have anything to add to that one?
No, I just think it's important when you have, we're all busy, guys. We've got a lot of things that pull at us. And so you think about times when you have, when you're driving and have the ability to listen to a script, or somebody, you record yourself and then you can listen to it and tweak it. I mean, there's so many ways. I
Jump
used
on
to
that
set up role
treadmill.
play partners. Yep. And half the time my partner wouldn't show up. Right.
Yep.
And so at that point, I was reading them over and over and over again. I would read them, close my eyes, try and memorize them, all that kind of stuff, until I got comfortable with how to use them. And then as I practiced them with people, they started to evolve to become more of my words. Right. So just think about different ways you can do it. I know you're busy. So anyways.
Yep. Yes. We are moving into a skills-based market. And when you don't take the time to know what you're going to say and how to present yourself, you will be one of those that's phased out of the business. Because the people who don't know what to say or don't have the confidence in their presentations, they don't last. Which is good for all of us, because that's what we're concentrating on. Okay, the number 6 in a shifting market, you're going to be pricing properties. Learn how to price properties to sell within the first 14 days. Now, Rod just said 7, but as the market shifts, that's going to expand a little bit. Right this moment, it is 7, but you will want to make sure that it's a minimum of 14 days after launch. Great customer service is getting the listing sold quickly and for the highest amount the market will bear. It is not having a sign in the yard sitting there for month after month after month. Okay. And then also making sure that we practice every listing every time. We're going to be going over that more in depth at a later time. But basically what that is we have minimum standards on our listings, and the minimum standards allow us to be able to create more buyer activity, so that it can drive the price up rather than down. It's going to be more important in the coming market to utilize every listing every time. Before, it was stick a sign in the yard and you'd have 500 buyers show up at your door. Not so much anymore, right? Every listing every time. Close hard. It is your job as a salesperson to get the contract signed. Your buyers and sellers expect you to be a strong negotiator. So show them your skill by practicing on them and closing them very hard. Close every single prospect, every single lead, and every single and every appointment. Close every lead and every appointment. Always be closing is basically what that says. Always be closing. You're going to close 5, 6, 15 times sometimes. And if it's necessary, make sure that you have the ability to do that. It's a mindset that as you go in, that you're going to walk away with the listing agreement signed. You're going to walk away with that buyer agreement signed, unless of course you don't want a listing. Like if you determine during the presentation that this is not a listing that's going to fit my every listing every time minimum standards, it's not going to be something that I can sell. It's okay to walk away. It's totally okay to walk away.
Really quick on the always be closing, what this means is be purposeful about your presentation, meaning that you don't put a lot of extra fluff in there. Everything that you do is content that's moving you towards the predetermined close, right? So make sure that you're purposeful, that everything in your presentation has a reason for being there and you're not just filling time. Okay.
Yep. Yep. And I just want to point this out again. Your clients expect that this is your job, okay? Your clients expect that you're going to do something that they're unwilling to do or they can't do, and that is to prospect and close. Those are the two things that they cannot and will not do, and that's what gives you value as a real estate agent, because that is your job. It's not social media, by the way. That's not your job. It is not, what else is it not? It is not opening a door. We have to do those things as part of our business, but that is not, they can post things on social media and they can figure out how to get the door open and they can jump online and kind of search for their house. But what they can't do is they can't prospect for a buyer until they find one. They can't prospect for a listing until they find one. That's your job. So I just always want that to be in your mind, is that the reasons that they will pay you the big bucks is because you're willing to do these things that we're asking you to do. And that is getting on the phone and prospecting and door knocking every single day until you get an appointment, because they certainly won't do that. And it helps me in my head say, oh, that's my job, so I guess I better do it. Plan, start, check in. Okay, so this is not optional moving forward. This is something that we want to see to generate good energy between all of us. So that's why I say it's not optional. I just created a Slack check-in channel. And what I would love for you to do is every single morning when you're starting your prospecting, this is just your prospecting, because I want to see when you're starting. And I don't care if it's at 7:30, 8, or 10, or 1, or 5. I don't care what time it is. What we want is for you to be able to say, okay, here I go, and have somebody else in your corner going, okay, I hope that they've got a really good thing going today. So you also have to say what happened during the times. So every single morning say, I'm starting. And if you want, you can say my intention is, and to say, line out maybe what your goal is. Maybe you can even say, I'm starting, and do an affirmation. You know, I don't care what that ends up looking like. I'll let you do that, but just make sure that you say, I'm starting. Record all of your results in Follow Up Boss and CTE. So, because that's where we're making sure that we're really watching your numbers in Follow Up Boss right now. And then when you're done prospecting, record, say finished, and record your contacts and how many appointments. In fact, if you want to ring a bell or do a dance or whatever, when you set that appointment, please do so in check-in. Let us celebrate your win with you. Use that energy to move you forward so that you can either get back on the phone, get back to prospecting, get back to digging for new business every single day. Okay. So I love what's called prospecting school. And what that is going into an environment with, 30 other real estate agents from all over the country who are prospecting at the same time back to their respective markets. And I used to do this at least once a month for a couple of years. I did it once a month, and then I went to every quarter. And what I found is that when I dedicated 2 days at the beginning of every single month, and we utilized all of the energy around I'm starting, I'm finished, I'm ringing the bell, all of that. I was able to set all of my listing appointments for the entire month in the first couple of days of the month, every single month. It's really fun. Rod hated it. It's not his thing, but you got to, know thyself. So remember, our goal here is to get into momentum. Be fanatical on your daily schedule. Do everything on the list above and get over the stories or excuses. You know what they call excuses? They stink. And everyone has one. That one. Well, everybody's got excuses and stories. Don't tell us what the excuse of I can't prospect is. We don't care. We want to hear your success. We want to celebrate the wins with you, right? Be coachable, get your ego out of the way, and put your head down and work. Remember, we're really getting ourselves into momentum for Christmas. If you really want to have a good Christmas, you kind of want to start now, getting it prepared. If you want to have a good real estate career, it starts right now. It starts right now. Every day that you put off concentration and this concentration phase, the further away that momentum gets from it.
If you have any hesitation at all, tiny little bit hesitation about selling your products and services, a little bit of uncertainty, a tiny little bit of that lack of conviction, that is holding you back in your business. You cannot even afford to have tiny little bit. From the dynamic, happy language, suddenly when they transition into an offer, this person doesn't believe in what he offers. Your conviction needs to be so strong, but I believe in what I do. And as a leader, when you have that strong conviction, you attract the right people to help you turn your vision into reality. Say it with conviction and confidence. You're saying you're not going to waste their time. That's their biggest fears. You're wasting their time. Now, it's one thing to use the script, but it's very, very important to know how you're going to say it. You got to say it with the right tonality. And that's the problem with a lot of sales training, that they teach you, they give you the words to say, but they don't give you a place to practice. The ability to close is the number one skill that you need in business, because everything you want in terms of resources, capital, employee, every single day you're closing. Because one thing I've learned in persuasion is this: when you say something, it means one thing. When they say something, it means everything. So instead of you saying it, make them say it. Make them think about it. Make them question it. Make them doubt their own ideas versus you try to doubt their ideas. And also, when you are communicating, when you're asking questions, you need to ask with certainty. In this world, in this uncertain world, what we do is we sell certainty in an uncertain world. You gotta have a vision that is so big, that's so compelling, that other people want to be part of that. I want to join this journey and be alongside with you. And maybe there's some obstacles. There will always be challenges going through this journey. So I believe very much that leader needs to think about, what is your mission? What are your values? What you do simply is a reflection of what you believe in. So what do you believe in? And as a leader, to inspire action is one thing to say, hey, you do this, you go, right? But a great leader says, let's go. Let's go together. Let's grow together. It's not telling them to act, it's inspiring them to act. And the only way to do that is it has to come from them.